guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do the second video in my labor and delivery, pregnancy, all of that series. So I did my birth story. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It'll be linked in the description box below. But today's video is going to be my 3-week postpartum check-in. So I am 3 weeks postpartum today. I cannot even believe that she is 3 weeks old. That is so crazy to me. And I can't believe like how fast time has flown by. And I feel like that first week was such a blur because I was in the hospital for a little bit. She had to stay in the NICU and we had to come home without her. I will do a whole NICU video after this one. So stay tuned for that if that's something you're interested in. But today we're going to talk about just all things postpartum. So what happened after I delivered up until now and how things are going, and all of those kind of things. So for starters, I did deliver her vaginally with an epidural. I had a 2nd-degree tear, so I did have some stitches, but my doctor told me it really wasn't that bad. I mean, that's great, I guess. I was absolutely terrified of all of this. I was to the point where I thought I would have been happier to just have a C-section and be done with it. But you guys, I'm so glad that's not the case. I honestly, and I hate even saying this because I don't want it to come off as bragging or anything like that, and that's how I like this video. I was just on a live and someone said something about like how much weight I've lost, and I hate to even respond to stuff like that because I don't want to come across as bragging. But you guys, as women, like when we're pregnant and throughout the pregnancy and after, like our bodies have a huge toll taken on them, and it's a pretty traumatic experience if you ask me. There is nothing rainbows and sunshines and butterflies about pregnancy and giving birth. It's an absolute blessing and crazy thing that our bodies can do, and I'm so thankful for it, and I'll do it 20 more times if I could, you know. But in general, like, it's really, really hard. My pregnancy overall was absolutely great. The very end was really, really rough, and I feel like it got rough really fast, which is like what led to her coming quick, and coming so early, because she was 5 weeks early if you haven't watched that video yet. So yeah, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. I'm literally just sharing my experience with you guys and how I'm feeling and how I'm doing and all of that. So please don't take it as that. I know most of you won't, but there are those people out there, especially when you're putting your life on the internet. You're kind of opening up to those kind of things, but let's just be nice and be happy for one another and yada yada. So anyways, I did get stitches and all of that stuff, which was like super scary to me because I've never had stitches in my entire life, and to have them down there was just absolutely scary because I also knew having her vaginally is terrifying for having sex again. That's a whole nother thing in itself. I'm not as scared as I was originally thinking, so that's all fine and dandy. That little bit of anxiety is gone, but it is still like a scary thing because like everything changes down there, and like you push the baby out of there, so it's just never gonna be the same. But after having her, I really wasn't in a lot of pain. Now they do give you that like pain relief and numbing spray that you spray down there every time you go to the bathroom and stuff like that, but I still just didn't experience a lot of pain. Like they just kept giving me naproxen, which is like equal to like 2 Aleve or whatever, so it's just kind of like a higher Aleve. They offered me like actual pain pills because I guess some people do need them, and they thought I was crazy when I said that I don't feel like that's necessary, and I don't want to take something like that if I don't have to. I would rather just take the ibuprofen, the Tylenol, the Aleve, or whatever. So that's all I took while I was in the hospital, except for that first night. I could not get the adrenaline rush to go down. So after she came out, they took her, weighed her, measured her, monitored her, and then brought her back to me. We breastfed for a little while. She probably was on there for like, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. We just kind of did skin to skin, stuff like that. But then her sugar was bottoming out. And again, that's a whole nother thing. If you stay tuned to the NICU video or you watch my birth story, I kind of go into detail there, but I'm going to like really explain everything with her in the NICU video. So needless to say, she ended up having to go to the NICU. So I held her for a little bit. Dwight saw her, he stayed with her, he went with her while they took her to the NICU, and I got to eat and like just kind of relax for a little bit. But your adrenaline literally pumps for like 3 days, and I didn't have her with me like in the room or anything like that, and I still could not get my adrenaline to go down. So luckily I was right around the corner from the NICU, so I went and did all of her feedings. I was breastfeeding at first, so I would go every 3 hours to breastfeed and then pump after and take her and feed her and all of that stuff. And then I still had like a huge like belly, like, you know, it was still pretty big. Like it went down some, but it was still pretty big, and like your skin is just so soft and like squishy and stretchy and just really weird. And again, I didn't make notes for this video, so it's just kind of going off of my head. So if it's all over the place, hang in there with me. If you have any questions, comment them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm trying to like just go back on those first few days, because like I said, that whole first week with her being in the NICU, it's just kind of like a blur, because it was a lot, especially when she wasn't in the room with us and we had to just keep going back and forth to the NICU, and to get into the NICU is like a whole process in itself. So I feel like I recovered pretty well because I didn't have her. I feel like it would have been a lot worse had I been having to take care of her as well and not be able to strictly focus on myself. So in a way, it was beneficial to me that she was in the NICU, because I was able to like heal completely on my own. She stayed at the hospital an extra like 4 days. Like I came home on Wednesday and she didn't come home till Sunday. So it was kind of like I got to focus on myself first, because that way when I did bring her home, then it was all about her. So I was pumping, because breastfeeding with her was super hard. Reason being is because she was born at 35 weeks, so she was very early, which meant her muscles that she needed in her jaws to actually breastfeed just weren't ready for that. So it was really hard to actually breastfeed her. I did several times, and I used a nipple shield. You guys, get a nipple shield and take it with you if you're going to breastfeed. That is the one thing I can recommend. I'm so glad they had those. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ever gotten to breastfeed her at all. So I'm thankful for the few times that I got to breastfeed her. But the nipple shield is a lifesaver. So definitely make sure you get one of those and take it with you. They will probably have one as well, but you will want it, I promise. And it's not for your sake, but for the baby's. It just was so helpful, especially since she wasn't strong enough to do it on her own. That was really helpful. So with that, I was pumping, but by Wednesday, so I had her on a Monday. By Wednesday, I was already engorged. I don't know if that's normal for it to happen that fast, but everyone at the hospital acted like it did never happen that fast. But I guess, like, I don't know, my milk just, when it came, and it came so fast that it just got stopped up because it didn't know what to do. And so when I started getting engorged, let me tell you guys, this is one thing nobody prepared me for, and I made it very clear throughout my whole pregnancy that I wanted to breastfeed, and not a single person, shame on all of you if you're watching, did not tell me about this part of breastfeeding. So, normally a lot of people say it's just like little lumps here and there all in your boobs, you know, where the milk is like getting clogged. You guys, no. My whole breasts were one big thing, like all the way up into my armpits and everything. Like it was so bad. I have never in my life seen anything like what was going on here, nor did I know that that happened and happened that extreme. So it gets better. Well, it gets worse actually. But when I left the hospital, they were like, this is not that bad, let's just get a hold of it. So we started icing. They were still having me pump because they wanted to like get it out, so you still need to be stimulating that motion and getting it out. Okay, when I got home, I literally thought I was gonna die. So me and Dwight got home from the hospital that day, and I kid you not, he went to bed, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was messaging with my mom, and I was like, Mom, there's no way, like, this is not normal, this is not okay, like, there is no way that this can be happening. I was in so much pain that I couldn't even bear, like, almost as much pain as, like, the giving birth part, because it was so bad. I have just never experienced that. The size that my boobs got was unreal. Like, it was literally like I just had a boob job done, and they were like double or triple D's. Like, and for me being a B, that is just not normal and not okay. It was not okay with me. And everyone was like, just stick it out, you can do it, keep pumping, put ice on it, put heat on it, do this, do that. Fine. Me and my mom had a whole system going that we did that whole first day, and then that whole first morning until it was time to go back to the hospital. So here's where it got tricky. This is what the main part of this postpartum video is, because this is like the biggest thing about my postpartum so far, has been this whole experience with trying to breastfeed and what happened. So the problem was I needed to keep doing that system, the heat, the cold, the pumping, yada yada yada, every so many hours. But my child is in the NICU at the hospital who also wants to be fed, and I prefer to be the one to feed her, and we live an hour from the hospital, so it was just like a huge ordeal. And I did the best I could those first couple days. Thankfully, going to the NICU, lactation was still willing to see me and help me and all of that stuff, because I was pumping at the hospital for her as well. So they were still coming and like helping and trying to figure it out and all that stuff. So we got down to the point where they said we needed to stop pumping. Like, it was so bad and we needed to stop pumping. And at that point I had already known, like, I already told my mom, I think I want to just stop. Like, she's already being supplemented with formula because I was not even producing like an ounce for her, or not an ounce, but at that point she needed to drink at least 20 milliliters or whatever that measurement is, and I was getting like 8. So she was having to drink a lot of formula. So at that point I just told my mom, like, this is not worth it to me, because it's taking a toll on me. Like, it's a good thing that I don't have her here, because I would not be able to take care of her because of all of this, and that was scary to me. Also, as a diabetic, when you breastfeed, your blood sugar can drop. So sure enough, mine was the first to be like, drop. And so I just didn't like the feeling of, for one, my blood sugar going low. That in itself is not a good feeling. For two, if I'm home breastfeeding my baby by myself, the last thing I want to worry about is going low, which of course my doctor said, have snacks with you. Like, don't sit down to breastfeed unless you have a snack or a Coke or something there with you, which is fine. But okay, think about being so sleep deprived and worrying about your baby and yada 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 if you forget. So what if something happened to me while I'm trying to breastfeed her and everything else, and being home alone? So all of it in itself just absolutely terrified me. So I decided, when the nurses said, do not pump when you get home, we need to take a break from that. I thought, okay, well, this is my sign that I am just done with this altogether. I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get these things back to normal without getting mastitis. So that was the one thing that we were worried about, was that I had already had it. But because I did not feel sick and I did not have a fever, I never like officially got mastitis, but it was like super, super close. Like, I don't know how I didn't get it, to be completely honest. That's how bad it was. And I wish I could show you guys pictures, but I'm not comfortable doing that. But holy cow. So, anyways, cabbage. Cabbage is the trick. So if you are ever breastfeeding and you get engorged in any way, put cabbage on your boobs. Like ice cold cabbage. So what we did is we did the cabbage and then we did frozen pea bags over the top of it to keep it cold. You can put the cabbage in the freezer or however you want to do it, but that was what we found worked best. And we did that for like 3 days. So they didn't go down right away. And I also took Motrin. So Motrin and the cabbage is the like end all be all solution to this problem. So if you're going through that or you're about to have a baby and this happens to you, remember cabbage, because Dwight ended up finding it on Google. And then the next day when we went to the hospital, the nurse goes, "We've literally tried everything we can try. Go home and get cabbage." And Dwight was like, "See, I told you." So we did the cabbage. And also after all this happened and I tell like my 2 friends about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too, and I just used cabbage." Well, thanks for the heads up, because I had no idea. So anyways, I've never in my life experienced something so traumatic. That was absolutely traumatic to me. My boobs were so big and stretched that they were shiny and slick. Like, they literally did not even look real. I just can't describe what happened. And I literally over the last couple days have just really gotten back down to normal. Obviously they're never going to be the same. I knew that from the beginning, whether I breastfed or not, that was probably going to be the case. But I'm so glad that like I do not have that issue anymore, because that was literally insane. And I literally had to walk around like this, and they were like out to here. It was like I couldn't wear any kind of bra because I didn't have one that fit, and if I did, it hurt. And so that was when I was still trying to do everything. Once I decided to stop, they say to like put on a really tight sports bra or something, and that helps get them down. And so that definitely did. So once I decided to stop, I started wearing like a bra that was like too tight, and that really helped. But like I said, just the Motrin and the cabbage, or over the last few days of it, the cabbage really hurt. Like, it started burning, and I don't know what that's about. So if you put cabbage on and it burns, take it off. Don't do it. It's not worth it. They already hurt too much to be going through that kind of pain, because the cabbage started really hurting me after a few days, and I don't know if that was it working or not, but it was definitely not worth the pain. So I just did the pee bags for probably the first 2 weeks. Every time I would think about it, I would go grab the pee bags and put them on them. But over this last week, they've gone back down. They're normal. There's no more like lumps and bumps and all that stuff. My nipples are still cracked and whatnot, and like peeling and all of that stuff, but that's nothing compared to what that was. Like I said, next pregnancy, next child, whatever, sorry about you. You're just gonna have to have formula, because I don't even want a chance going through that again. Like, literally, I will give birth 1,000 times, but I do not want to go through that again. I know that it's like healthier for your baby and yada yada, but at the end of the day, as long as the baby is fed, that is all that matters. So here's the thing. My biggest takeaway from all of that is, if you want to stop, and don't let anybody tell you different, because all those nurses and doctors at the hospital were doing everything they could to encourage me to keep going and whatever. And even when I said I wanted to stop, they still were telling me what to do to keep going. So then I felt guilty. I cried and cried and cried over the decision to stop, because I wanted to breastfeed so bad. But in the end, I knew that it was not going to be the best thing for any of us. So I just had to just say, no, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Tell me what I can do to get this to go away. I'm not breastfeeding. I'm not pumping. I'm not doing anything, because it hurt so bad. So that's the hardest part too, is like mentally accepting that you're not doing something that you wanted to do so bad. But in the end, I'm okay with my decision now. I had a really hard time with it. But I now feel better and know that I made the best decision for me and for her, for the sanity of this household, because it was just not a pretty thing happening around here. So if you want to breastfeed, definitely try to breastfeed, because it is an amazing thing. But if that starts happening and you want to stop, just stop. If it gets that bad, especially if it got as bad as mine did. Okay, sorry. Dwight was watching her, but apparently he cannot watch her anymore. I don't know. I know. Okay, so if you hear her, she's in here now. But that's all my rant about my breastfeeding journey. Other than that, I mean, obviously I'm still bleeding here and there, yonder, whatever. Like they'll tell you that that can last up to 6 weeks or longer. It just depends. But mine is like very light. And they said it could come and go, but it's really not. It's just like kind of been a consistent light bleeding. So that's been great. All of my swelling has gone down, because I have never in my life, when I looked down there for the first time and I was still really swollen, I was like, is this permanent? Like, what is happening down here? But obviously it's just swelling, because a lot just happened down there. But everything is like back to normal and doing good. My 6-week appointment is in 3 weeks from today, so I'm ready for that. Just because like I just want to like make sure everything is good and all that stuff. As far as like, I don't really have an update as far as like the rest of the healing process goes, because I feel like I've healed, like I'm healing fine, great. I have had no issues with all of that. Like I said, the breastfeeding thing has been the biggest issue after giving birth. And then we'll talk about weight real quick. So if you don't know, I was like really into going to the gym before I got pregnant with her. I did not continue going to the gym when I got pregnant with her, just because I was really sick for like the whole first trimester, and then when I felt better, but it was like, you know, it's too far gone at this point, so I'll just wait till after and go back to the gym. So my last weight, okay, so before pregnancy, the last time I weighed myself, I was 133. And the last weight check at my appointment that I remember getting, I was 178. And as of today, 3 weeks postpartum, I am down to 153. So I'm down like 20 something pounds, which I'm really happy with, and I'm like really content with. So I'm not like rushing to get back to the gym and get back in shape and all that stuff. Obviously, like, I'm just spending all my time with her, and I am going to go back to the gym because that's something I really enjoyed, and self-care is really important. And I feel like mentally I've done really well. I was absolutely terrified of postpartum and just my anxiety, and I did have baby blues in the hospital, but more of that was the fact that I had to leave her there, because that was probably one of the hardest things, and I knew that I was gonna have to do that. Like, I knew going into it this was gonna be something, but that doesn't make it any easier. I mean, all my babies are gonna have to go to the NICU and stay, and so I know like they're well taken care of and all of that, but it's still hard. You know, you just had a baby and you just want to take them home, and Dwight struggled a lot with that as well. He just didn't really get the seriousness of me telling him the whole time, like, I'm pregnant, like, she's gonna be a NICU baby, she's probably gonna have to stay, you know, yada yada yada. But it doesn't make it any easier. But we will know, like, next time will be a lot better. I mean, it won't be easy, but it will be a lot better because we're prepared. We've done it once. We know, you know, all of that. Even though today he goes, I don't want another one. She's perfect. And I'm like, I want more children. So anyways, but being home, my anxiety has been pretty good. She's sleeping pretty well. I'm gonna do her 1 month update next week, so stay tuned for that. It'll be up next Monday, and we'll talk about her sleeping. But I'm getting good sleep, so that hasn't been too big of an issue. There are nights that we're up a lot more than others, but in general, like, we're sleeping pretty good, and she sleeps good in the mornings, so like we'll sleep till like 9 or 10 o'clock, which is really nice. Unless we have somewhere to be, then obviously we get up, because we have had lots of doctor's appointments. But I will here and there like cry, but not out of sadness. Like, I'll just be holding her and looking at her, and I just cry because she's like here, and I've wanted this for so long, and we tried so hard and for so long to have her. So I will just kind of like be emotional about that, but like I don't feel sad or anything like that. Like, I thought being home by myself, I would feel sad. I think our first few days at home were really bad, but that is because we brought her home on a Sunday. We got home probably around 1, and we spent the whole day at home, all the dogs, and I don't think I've talked about this on this channel yet. So the next morning, Dwight got up to let the dogs out, and our little Miller, which was our little Dachshund Chihuahua mix dog, he was taken by coyotes. So my first few days at home were definitely really bad, and I thought that that was gonna spiral me into the crazy house. I literally cried and cried and cried, so I think I got it all out of my system. I know, babe. So I think I just did like all of my breakdowns and all of my crying those first few days, and so I really, you know, I haven't felt that sadness since. Like, I miss him more than anything, but her as a distraction and knowing like I still have to take care of her and all that stuff has really helped me grieve. And so I'm glad that I was able to like get it together, do my grieving, but not like, I still have days where I miss him and his pictures will pop up and I'll be sad, kind of tearing up now, but at the end of the day, like, God has a plan for everything. I don't know what his plan in having that happen was, but it's just one of those things that, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. He's gone, and yeah, I don't have much else to say about that, but overall, I feel really good. Mentally, I feel really good. I am a little bit anxious about things, like with her. Like, I prefer to just do things for her myself, so I know that how they're done. You know, like, Dwight helps, he'll make her a bottle or whatever, but like most of the time I'm just like, I'll do it, it's fine, because like, I don't know, I feel like I'm just a little anal about things like that, and so I just prefer to do them myself. But he's helped in a lot of other ways with things around the house and the dogs and stuff like that, so we're learning, we're getting the hang of things. But overall, okay, sorry, I had to also move because my phone died, so I plugged it up, and I'm gonna wrap this video up super quick. But if you have any questions or specific questions that I might not have went over in the video, just comment down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Sorry that this video was all over the place, but I just wanted to kind of like sit down, be kind of raw and real with you guys, and just kind of like chat with you guys about everything. But in general, I am really happy with you are silly. I'm really happy with my postpartum. I'm really happy with everything between the labor, the delivery, postpartum so far, all of that. I'm really proud of myself and happy with how everything has went. It went a lot better than I thought it would, and yeah, recovering I normally recover from things fine, but you know, this is a little bit more traumatic, and so I just was really nervous about how it was going to be. So other than the whole breastfeeding journey, which again, not everyone goes through that, and that's great. I hope nobody has to go through that. But overall, really, really happy with everything. So I'm going to stop rambling now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't, go back and watch the other video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Shelby. This is Avery. I just had her. And be sure to subscribe so you can see all the other videos that we have to come. There's going to be vlogs coming. I'm vlogging a little bit right now. It's not really vlogging as much because Dwight's been home since the weather's been crappy. But anyways, it's hard to vlog with him because he's still a little like shy of vlogging, so I just don't think to vlog when he's around. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will be about the NICU stay and then her 1 month update. Her 1 month update is coming as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.